Today, I'll share with you the 3 things that kill our brain's ability to concentrate. In the recent years, we have been suffering from a lack of concentration and we have been unable to focus even more than ever. Microsoft did a study and found out that in the year 2000, our attention span was about 12 seconds. While by 2022, it was down to 5 seconds. And the goldfish has an attention span of 8 seconds. So, congratulations, you now have less of an attention span than a goldfish. Now, before I share with you the 3 things that affect your ability to focus, I think it's very important to understand how our brain functions in regards to concentration. To put it simple, imagine your brain as a network where different areas need to communicate in order for you to be able to complete your tasks efficiently. For example, when you're playing the piano, you're going to need your motor senses, which is going to be your hands playing the keys, and your auditory functions, which are going to be you being able to hear and recognize the music you're playing. You have 2 main networks when it comes to concentration. The first one is DMN, which is default mode network. This is our brain's rest state. It is activated when you're basically doing things that do not require your focus, your attention, you're daydreaming, you're relaxed, you're not doing anything that requires you to be centered. The second one is CEN, Central Executive Network. This is the one that gets all the action when you need to focus on something. It is responsible for tasks that need your attention and also for decision making. This is important to note because when you're working on something that requires your attention, the CEN is the one that takes action. It is the one that is taking the control. But with the 3 things that I'm going to share with you here, they are the 3 things that basically disrupt the process of the CEN and they kick you back in your default resting mode. This is why you're not able to concentrate. So let's get to them. The first one is multitasking. Now, one thing I need to tell you here is that multitasking does not exist. Your brain ability allows you to focus only on one thing at a time. So what we refer to as multitasking is basically you doing something, then interrupting that something to take care of a different thing. But you're not doing it at the same time. You are basically switching your focus between the 2 places. And yes, sometimes the day-to-day requires it, especially for mothers when they need to take care of their child and clean and do a whole lot of things at the same time. But doing this more than necessary can absolutely harm you because you get used to switching from one task to another and you're not used to concentrating on only one thing at a time. You diminish your ability to concentrate on right here and right now because you're constantly thinking about the next step, the next thing you need to do. Number 2 is distractions. Our world is designed in a way that is constantly giving you stimuli. And specifically with social media, these applications are specifically designed to capture your attention. They're designed to be constantly giving you notifications, dopamine rushes, and our brains are not able to filter out the important information. All of these applications, especially social media, have so many people behind them, so much money invested just to get them to capture your attention and keep you there. But this leads to a short attention span, and in fact, a study has shown that the average viewer time is about 2 minutes, no more. And speaking of content, the third thing that leads to us not being able to concentrate is precisely the content that we consume. Social media, especially in the past 3 or 4 years, has been moving from long content to short content with reels, with TikToks, with shorts. And I have to admit, they are very fun, but the only thing that they do is provide you with cheap dopamine. Now let me tell you how instant gratification and productivity are linked. Productivity requires time, it requires attention, it requires us to put in the hard work. And instant gratification makes you feel like you don't have to do any of that because you can feel good without it. You cannot see this in the short term, but when you look back at the past couple of years of your life, what have you accomplished and are you really satisfied with where you are? Lastly, I want to touch on how we can fix this. You need to expose yourself to less instant gratification. Stop your notifications and use the tools that your devices have. The phones nowadays have a do not disturb mode. The computers have a focus assist mode. Use them to stop the notifications when you need to concentrate for longer periods of time. You need to start focusing on only one thing at a time without your mind wandering everywhere. I know it's going to be very difficult in the beginning, but like a muscle, you can absolutely train it. Lastly, try the Pomodoro technique. I've spoken about this before and it's so helpful. Focus on a task and do the work for 25 minutes and then take a break for 5 minutes. That way you give your brain time to refresh and you will feel much better. That's all I have for you today. If you've enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.